Here we are celebrating, about to receive the gift of the Holy Eucharist, the real bread of life. For me and my household, we will serve
that
the
He is
Lord.
with us now. He will be with us tomorrow. He will always be with us.
It's better to light one candle than it is to curse the darkness.
The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark. The apostles gathered together with Jesus and reported all they had done and taught. He said to them, "Come away by yourselves to a deserted place and rest a while." People were coming and going in great numbers, and they had no opportunity even to eat. So they went off in the boat by themselves to a deserted place. People saw them leaving, and many came to know about it. They hastened there on foot from all the towns and arrived at the place before them. When he disembarked and saw the vast crowd, his heart was moved with pity for them, for they were like sheep without a shepherd, and he began to teach them many things. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Good morning again, everyone. And that's a good morning to all of you gathered here and all of our brothers and sisters who are praying with us online this morning. And I see we have a few visitors and guests this morning. Welcome to all of you as again we celebrate this 16th Sunday in Ordinary Time. But because of all the nuances of the readings and the songs, I like to call it Good Shepard Sunday. We already had an official Good Shepard Sunday in our diocese, but I think you'll agree that this makes a wonderfully equal Good Shepherd Sunday, and it's always a wonderful time for us to honor Jesus, our Good Shepherd. Every year, my brothers and sisters, all of the priests of the diocese are asked to go on a retreat for at least a week to do something to enrich our spiritual lives. And so I've been blessed to go many different places. Last year, though, because of the situation we were all in, I stayed home. And I participated in an online retreat experience. It was actually really very wonderful. The only difference was that I had Mass here in the church each and every day. And when I went to the retreat sessions in my room, I could take my coffee. I didn't have to worry what I was wearing, huh? So it was kind of different, but kind of a nice experience. But one of the years prior to that, we had a retreat, and it was led by a really wonderful little Franciscan. And he announced at the beginning of the week the theme is going to be the Good Shepherd. And every morning we would have a talk, and then in the afternoon there'd be time for quiet, reflection, and then to do some journaling. Well, I was very confident that that reflection time would include what I like to call horizontal meditation. It's always good to have a little nap, a little siesta in the afternoon. But on the third day, brothers and sisters, the talk focused on living out the life of the Good Shepherd. And our question for reflection was, who were good shepherds in your own life? Well, when I finally sat down to write, I thought, there's not going to be a nap this afternoon, because there have been so many wonderful people that I've blessed to get to know and privileged to minister together with, who have reflected the kindness, the compassion, the care of Jesus, the Good Shepherd, including many of you as well in more recent times. But one of the earliest of those persons that came into my mind, and I tried to do it in a rather logical way, you know, the earliest to the latter. One of the earliest was a babysitter from my childhood. Her name was Mrs. Emino. Now, I protested, of course, that I never needed a babysitter, but, you know, as things go, we had to do what Mom and Dad said. But the two things I remember are this, and I think childhood memories are sometimes somewhat selective, But whenever I got in any mischief, she would tug me away by the ear. And I think that's why this lobe is a little longer than the other one even today, And then at bedtime. Bedtime was special because she'd always read a short story from the Bible. I'm sure many of them that you would be familiar with. And then she would sing the hymn, Jesus Loves Me, This I Know. You know that song, Jesus loves me, this I know, for the Bible tells me so. Little ones to him belong. They are weak, but he is strong. And it was different Bible readings, but it was always the same song, brothers and sisters. And I'm not so sure how many times, of course, she sang that song over a course of what it might have been a couple years. But I always took that to heart and shared her confidence that Jesus always loves us, always abides with us, despite our weaknesses, despite our failings. And just like the opening song suggests to us in the one verse, as you imagine Jesus carrying that lamb, that sheep over his shoulder, when we are weakest, he is strongest and there to hold us up. So thank you, Mrs. Emino, for being one of those good shepherds in my life. The role of the Good Shepherd, brothers and sisters, is clearly the dominant theme in the readings today. And in fact, the prophet Jeremiah reminds us that, hey, there can be bad shepherds as well as good ones. Those who mislead, those who hurt, those who divide the flock rather than heal them and unify them. But that being said, isn't it more important for us as we gather to focus on the positive, to take to heart the words of the very familiar responsorial psalm, "The Lord is my shepherd," and to thank God from our hearts for all of those who have reflected Jesus' love and who have had that positive influence in our lives. And with that, brothers and sisters, I would simply invite you today, or when you have some real quiet time, to consider those who have been Good Shepherd in your own lives, to name them, to thank God for them, for their love, their encouragement, their faith, the unique and the wonderful ways they've influenced your lives. And then to pray, of course, to pray for them, but to ask God that you may continue to be generous in sharing the love of the Good Shepherd in your own life. In the Gospel of St. Mark today, Jesus looks out on the crowd and he sees all of them out there, this huge flock, and St. Mark tells us he has pity on them. He's saddened because they seem like they're sheep without a shepherd. Well, who does Jesus count on to help gather the sheep and to guide them? And the clear answer, my brothers and sisters, is all of you and I as well. You know, today's gospel is an extension of last week's reading from chapter 6 that Deacon Nick spoke about, where Jesus sends out the disciples two by two to encourage one another to be about his good work. And today, as we move on to chapter 7, we're reminded again of that lofty commission, discipleship, that we are not only the sheep to be cared for, we are the shepherds, all challenged to share Jesus' care, concern, and generosity with our brothers and sisters in our world today. To remind them in word and in deed, Jesus does love me. This I know, that he loves all of us, each and every one, in the same wonderful way.